everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Bearing It All. My name is Ugochi Okorie, and I am excited to be your host. So today I have with me as my guest an amazing father, an amazing husband, and a leader, as I will call him. Please help me and welcome Mr. Emmanuel.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me to this episode.
Thank you.
And hello to everyone at home.
Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel. Please tell our viewers a little about yourself and your family.
Okay. Well, my name is Emmanuel Abiola, like you rightly mentioned, a father, and I've got family of 2 children and a lovely wife. She's looking at me. I love you. And I was raised from a very humble family, just a typical thing where you grow from humble background, and I think that would do for now. If you want me to say more, I can go on and dig a little bit more.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So Mr. Emmanuel is actually a driving instructor. Do you want to tell us a little about that? And I think what I'm eager to know, how long you've done this, and if you have always wanted to be an instructor. Okay.
All right. Well, if you ask me to introduce myself profession-wise, and I'm feeling like the way a normal person would feel, I would say, oh, I am an engineer. And someone says, okay, you're an engineer. Yes. I spent a good part of my life studying as an engineer. First degree in engineering, petroleum engineering, in University of Ibadan, Nigeria, and I thereafter worked for Chevron Nigeria Limited back there for about 6 years.
Cool.
And also came into the UK and continued in my engineering. Now,
with the same company?
Yeah, not the same company. Okay. I had to look for another job, just a relocation.
Okay.
And that has been a journey. So my journey, my aim, my desire, all I wanted to be was to be an engineer, not to be a driving instructor. Sorry if that busts your bubble, but that's what it is. However, there's a story behind that, and I guess as you give me opportunity, I will be more than happy to go into that story.
Please go ahead. Tell us that story.
Okay. Okay. Right. So back in those days, after leaving secondary school, I wanted to go into engineering. My desire was engineering. I didn't know which type of engineering to go into, and I got born again Christian, for people who don't understand what that means. Back then, young Christian, so I had this desire, and I sought the face of God. God revealed himself to me. I was a young believer, so he told me what area to go into. Now I did go, in filling the form. It was JAM form, they called it those days. I don't know if they still do that back there in the country. So. Now filled in the form, and the application went through. When the result came out, that was when my parents were like, what did you fill in your form? They didn't ask why, because they thought it was going to be medicine that was going to put in there. And I knew what they were thinking, but I was really happy that at least no one was asking. So when I put that in, and then the result came out, they were like, no, you're not doing that. This is what you're doing. And I'm like, look. And in the course of that, my dad had to come in, and he did all he could do. Eventually, I was moved into a course I didn't want to do. And after to cut it short, he found his way around to get me into studying petroleum engineering. I was very obedient. I wanted to please my parents, so I did. I went into petroleum engineering. I studied it for them.
For them.
Yes, I did. I studied it for them. I loved them. But, you know, and as a young believer, I didn't know what that would have as an effect on my life later on. But I heard God clearly. That was something I'm grateful to God for, that very early in my Christian journey, I could understand when God is speaking to me. That's really an important thing. Now, so I did do that and graduated. It was a hard journey because they struggled financially, my parents. My mom had to wash the clothes of my colleagues in University of Ibadan for me to go to the uni. It wasn't an easy journey as well. But thankfully, graduated, got a job with Chevron, and this voice was still with me. I hadn't done what he wanted me to do. So I did struggle, and this was inside, and then made a second attempt to go into chemical engineering, which was the original voice, into Unilag. And again, because of work pressure, I didn't finish that as well. So I was still struggling. Now, job-wise, money-wise, everything was going okay. If you looked at me from outside, young man, everything working okay, so he should be happy. Well, if happiness was more about what you have physically, yes, I was. But also inside, I was struggling. So now, when all that journey gone, I thought in my heart I had not done what I should do. Now I'm not under anybody's roof anymore. What should I do? So I started seeking the face of God. It was hard. It was like he said to you, go to this place. Time and seasons don't wait. Unfortunately, time had moved on. So the question now is, would you go back and be a chemical engineer when actually you should be becoming a supervisor in that area if you had started at the time he wanted you to start it? But I thought, look, I will take a go this time around with all my last shot, because I was trying to hear this time around. I could not tell anymore. So I went into chemical engineering. I went into chemical engineering, University of Aberdeen, right here.
Wow. And
it was a hard journey because this time I was a full-time family man. Full-time job was there as well. So it was more like, look, God, if you can just give me this one moment, I want to please you, I want to do everything to fulfill what I felt you were talking to me about. So I did go into that. When all that finished, you know, God is a very loving Father. How do I describe God to you? I would describe God as an embodiment of love. And how do I mean? When it looks right in your heart. So he all along was looking in my heart. And when I'd done all that, it's now time, you know, and this time around, it was an eventful thing that happened to me, and I will explain that to you just in a moment. Do I still have more time to tell you?
Oh, please, I'm going to, as in, tell your story.
Okay, okay, right. So, it was January 2014, 4th of January, I would say specifically. There was this 100-day fasting and prayer that would normally come up. It has come up this year. It was 62 days. And I was part of it on this day, the first day of the fasting. So we'd been given time, enjoy all your Christmas, New Year feasting, have a nice time and all the rest. On 4th January, we will start fasting. On 4th January, I started my own fast. Meanwhile, on this journey of working with other company, I was doing okay. Norway today, Denmark tomorrow, everything going well. It was like my career was going to really the peak of it. Now, I knelt down before God and I'm like, Father, thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for this, thank you for that. It's really, really good. It's been a journey. I wanted to go into this one, I couldn't, but right now, I've done the chemical engineering. Things are looking okay. Still not in the placement I want to be, but I'm happy. Thank you, Lord. At least I have done that bit. Then he said to me, and I heard clearly, you're going to be a driving instructor. I said, what? Now, I had God clearly, and I knew it wasn't the devil talking to me. You know, argue this in my mind. I did. So I said...
And this was after you've graduated from, you know, going back to school to do the chemical.
Yes, so I'd done all the rigorous thing and done all that, and I'm like, well, look, I guess in my heart, because I hadn't done that part of obeying God, I felt like, look, I would do that part and I would move on with my life. I thought, well, He would do something with it later on in life, yeah. That God, since you've done that, it would probably create an opportunity. I'm thinking like a man, you see. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. So He then said driving instruction. I said, driving instruction? No, that's not going to happen. So I was more like, this was like in moments on my knees. I said, but Lord, I didn't come here to actually talk about my career. I came to thank you. And that is all I want to do. I want to stand up from here thanking you. So when I got up from my knees, I was not really happy. Yes, there was a bit of trouble. Noise in my head, peace in my heart. Peace in my heart, go and do driving instruction. Noise in my head, I have a job. I'm actually in employment. I have everything going on well for me. Career is at its best. Prospect, I was handling a project. I was doing everything okay. Everything was fine on the table. I had not lost any job. There was nothing wrong. Everything was really good. And I'm thinking, so how do I go about doing this? How do I tell my wife? This time around, I'm not with parents, so parents are not the one influenced. So how do I wake up one day and tell my friends, people around, to say, look, I am going to be a driving instructor? But that was God talking to me months earlier than any human being could know. So what was it that happened? January passed. I kept it to me. I am not going to change or just go and resign and say I'm becoming driving. It's not going to happen. Yeah. God, I know you said that, but look, I am not going to do anything or initiate that.
And you said that to God?
Yes, yes, yes. Remember, He's a loving Father.
Yes.
When you deal with God at certain level, you will understand this thing. He's a very loving Father. So you could speak to Him. My sons talk to me that same way. You know, when you say to them, go and do something, they say, no, they're not doing it. And they'll give you their reason. So I said, look, I'm not going to be doing this because, you know, I gave my reasons. This is not just going to make any sense. Now, so what happened after that? I continued doing my work. Everything was going well, like I said. When it was in April, 4 months after, I traveled abroad. I went to Nigeria. And on my way back, we're there at the airport, Amsterdam, and I checked my email. I got an email from my boss, and he said I should head to the office. So I took a long weekend to go on holiday. I think I went on Wednesday and was meant to be back on Tuesday of the other week, so I could have long weekend and have my journey to Nigeria. But what happened was I got an email, and in the email he said I should come to the office early. Okay. As soon as I read that email, the Spirit of God in me said to me, now it is time for you to do that thing I told you. And I'm like, okay, time. So are you saying this job is going? And the answer is yes.
Wow.
Okay, so the person beside me, I could not talk to him as well. It was a brother, but I couldn't say anything to him. I kept all this to myself, and I started all through on board the flight back to Aberdeen. I was thinking about this. So no opportunity to go back home. I couldn't phone my wife. I couldn't talk to nobody. It was just a conversation between me and the Spirit of God. So when I got back to the office, I went to my boss office. I had been preaching the gospel to this boss, you know, like the way people, you may have been preaching the gospel if you're a Christian to people, but because they're your superior, you couldn't really come directly the way you would normally do. So I had been, you know, using sideways to talk about Christ. But this time around, I said to myself, like Samson on his last opportunity killed more people than he ever killed in his entire career. I said, look, today I'm going to face that guy. I'm going to tell him about the gospel. My job is gone. He does not even know that I know that as I'm coming to the office, he would be telling me the job will be going. But I know I am aware of that. I am aware by God, not by anybody talking to me. I had not talked to no flesh. Remember, this is me just entering into the office. So I got into the office. Now, as I walked in, he just beckoned to me to come to his office. As I came to his office, he was going to talk. I said, no, don't say anything. I said, I know what it is. I said, remember that God I told you about? I said, then I started my preaching the gospel. When I finished, he kept quiet. He looked at me. He kept quiet. He listened, and I made this job easy. You're going to tell someone that their job had come to an end. And they already told you they knew the job had come to an end, which was fine for him. And so I did all that I could do, and then it was like, oh, you're going to be on garden leave. That's what they called it. And then eventually consultation and everything, and the job would go. So I did that and then got up. When I got up from there, company laptop, everything, you normally leave all that, and then it was not time for me to walk away, so I walked away. It was after I stepped out of the work premise that my normal human self came back. Now this time around I was going to have like what you call grief. Yes, I'm human, by the way. All this God
You are
that you
no
hear from
Holy
me.
Ghost.
Yeah, you remember, I'm just a normal human being. So I'm then thinking, hold on, nice job, everything good, it's gone. Yeah, you do not know where the next money will come from. It's all gone. Yes, they'll pay you. You've worked for 8 years, but you know, and all the rest of that. And I'm going, okay, God, what's going to happen? So I then remember a day like this where I would be sharing my story with someone. I felt like crying and breaking down. Yeah, that was the feeling I had, like break down, cry. Yes, that's my feeling at that moment. But then I thought, hold on, one day I will need to share this good story. So what am I going to share as part of the story? So I took a walk and then used that as an opportunity to thank God. So I had 1 hour of praise worship. What was I thanking God for? I was thanking God for all the years from the university, the day was very rough, the day was very bad, turbulent, all through, seeing me through it, taking me through all that journey and still never leaving me alone, all the provisions, everything I've enjoyed, you know, and times I had to wait for children, no children. Now this time around I had little Esther, and I am just fine, and job is gone, but all the glory to God, it's all good. Get it going. And he's already told me what to go and do as well, so I'm really blessed. All I need to do right now is go and focus on what he's asked you to do. And that was how I became a driving instructor.
It must have been hard.
Yes, it was.
How did you start?
To be a driving instructor?
Yes.
Now, that in itself is a journey. What I mean by that is this. Now, all through my life, I wouldn't call myself, you know, like there are some people that they are very, very good in the academics, they're excellent. No, I wasn't that way. I would make effort, then I would get good results. That's all it was about me. Now, all through my life, I never failed a course. Never. I never did. So now when it was time to be a driving instructor, I thought in my mind, if you ask me, oh, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm brilliant. It would just be, so they say, how many stages are there? 3 stages, first stage, second stage, third stage. I say, oh, give it to me, I'll smash it. So I took the first stage, and the first stage, I failed, and I'm going, okay, I have opportunity to do it again. I did it again, failed, did it again, failed, did it again, failed, did it, and it kept all piling up.
Wow.
There was one day I got so frustrated. I looked up right in the sky. I said, God, are you really there? This is hard. You do not understand what this means, God. I have lost my job. I've spent money and money over money, and this money I do not have. You're not getting it, God. This is hard. You know, I walked out of the center and I looked right in the sky. I said, this is hard. I'm not finding this funny anymore. What is it that is wrong? What have I done? You know, why all this? You know, and I would hear his voice, you know, like peace inside. There's no peace outside for me. Look, it's all hard. Now, there was this one last time I did that, I had it all here. I couldn't take it anymore. And then I had a voice again. It said to me what it was I was doing wrong. I was like, you could have told me that from first day. Why did you leave it till now?
I know.
To tell me that. That's how I talk to God. You could have told me just on the first day.
But then his ways are different from us.
His ways are different from us. What was it that he was trying to get me to do? It was breaking me down. Oh, it was breaking me down. Now today, if I take someone on a driving lesson and they fail, by the grace of God, most of them don't fail. But if they fail, I know exactly how they feel. I do know, not by any other way, but by experience. The pain of failing. Yes, I do know it. So if I'm going to talk to someone who's just failed the test, the right words comes out of my mouth by God's grace. I have been there. As a matter of fact, that experience made me to be ahead of all of them I will ever train.
So it's easy to relate with them.
It's easy to relate with them. You won't have failed as many times I did fail. No, I have not met anyone. Even the person that thought, oh my God, I've been to here, I've been there, and I'll say to them, I said, yeah, you'll pass. And they go, how do you say that so confidently? And I'm saying that on my own daddy. I'm saying, look, he is there. He's been where you want to be. He can see over the hills. He can see where you want to go to and where you want to be, and he can help you with that. Yeah. So wow. That's it.
It's been an interesting story.
Okay.
To my next question, I was thinking, apart from the fact that, you hear God and you know that this is God telling you do this, and you said something, you are still flesh.
Yeah.
I am very sure that all of this came with loads of challenges. Do you want to tell us, some of the challenges that came with, moving from, being in a job that was that great to, having to write exams or do whatever you needed to do to be, who you are today, a good driving instructor?
So, like I explained earlier, it was not just the financial part of it. So, changing from one career to the other wasn't easy for me personally. I had at the back of my mind, who is sponsoring you? So I know it's God. It didn't then mean that everything was just all bed of roses. No. So remember, in this time, what I didn't tell you was I was going through a lot as well on the back end. So in that time, the family I came from, 4 boys, my mom gave birth to. Now, she had lost 2 at this point, and the other one was going to die.
Wow.
Okay. Right.
Take a minute.
All right, it's okay. Right. So, what I didn't also say to you was this fasting and prayer that we did, the 100 days fasting and prayer, I didn't want to ask God for anything. I just wanted Him to not let my brother die. Okay, so I did pray, right? And he died. All the glory to God. That's just one part of this whole thing. So I had all this just going on, and this was me changing from one career to the other. And in the middle of that, God was still taking me from one stage to the other. When I finished the first stage, the second stage was waiting for me. So I said to you, it was 3 parts to this, to changing and becoming a driving instructor. Now, in the second part, I still had a challenge as well. And this time around, I had to, if you fail this part, you'll have to wait for another 3 years.
Wow.
Yes, you'll have to wait. But the way it worked out, God stepwisely, because He could see over the hills, the way He did it is super. Now, if you come in and you come in on training license, people that know about this will understand what I'm talking about. You're allowed to be on that for about a year. In my own case, I had extension, and that extension linked onto my waiting time from the first time I passed my theory test. So I did my 3 years all in that time, and I was still able to work. Now, when the waiting was finished, whereby I needed to go and when I couldn't make the second stage, I needed to then wait another 3 years. I had spent that time in between.
Wow.
Yes. So all that was a journey. Now the challenges and all that. But you know one thing, all through it all, I knew who was sponsoring me. I was really, really, really at peace. Now, so it wasn't an issue that I needed to go and tell anybody. You understand? The next thing to do, I already knew. The next thing, the next instruction, the next thing. But not that I was not worried, but I knew, well, look, you're leading me. Wherever you lead me to, I go. There was not one day, not one single day, that I was without help. Yeah, so I went through that. Now, when I then went back in again to start all over again, so to become a driving instructor, I had to do the journey twice.
Wow.
And that time I was doing the journey, you could not tell from outside. Now, it was the second time coming through that I came in, bam, 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 the way I should do. So first stage, second stage, and then third stage, and then I went through and then passed. Now, I remember the day I was going to go and do the test. I called my friend. I said, hey, come. I want you to sit in the car. I want you to come and see me pass today.
Wow.
Now, he said, hold on, what if the examiner asks, who is this? I said, you would say to him that you are my trainer. I said, I want you to see me pass. So he was in the car because you have to do the in-car thing. And then the whole thing started. And then he was like, after the whole thing, it was like, wow, you've got the vibe, you've got the energy, you've got everything. Say, there was no way on earth anyone could have failed you. Say, wow. And then that went, and that was me passing. Now, you won't know where my source of confidence was coming from. It was from God. Absolutely God. Challenges came, but I was always fine. There was only one that was going to move me here and there. What was it? I had this gentleman, he came in, and he got trained, and then for whatever reason he failed his test. You know, when people come in with this expectation that, look, when you come to this guy, you'll pass. Yes, I like that. It sounds good. Now, he came in and he did not pass. And then he thought it was going to cause trouble. Wow. What was he going to do? I got a letter from him. The letter was that, you know, I trained him, blah, 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 and it was that I was going to pass with all the promise and all the rest of that. I don't promise anybody anything. You read the testimony, yes, you saw what other people said. That was what promised you, not me. But look, I still don't mind, you know, all the high rating, it's fine. And then he said that that was going to affect him in getting a job. Oh. You know, and then the letter came in, he had gone to CAB, he had cooked up some lies, and that was how they agreed to assist him in sending the letter to me. When I got the letter, I was worried. Now, why was I worried? I was worried because I'd never experienced that before. So it was a new terrain to me. You wouldn't know you're worried. You're doing very, very strong, bold face. So I put the letter aside. How I knew I was worried was the night I slept, and then in the middle of the night I woke up. Now, all through the stages I told you about, even when my brother died, when all the stages I've gone through in my life, I'd always trusted God, even though I would sleep. But this is me, a letter waking me up from my sleep, and I'm wondering, okay. Oh, I then I said, yes, you're worried. And right in that middle of the night when I woke up, I said, God, I said, look, you told me not to worry, and I have followed that till date. I said, silence this person. That was the only prayer I prayed, and then I closed my eyes and I went to bed. That was the last time I thought about it. And he came back apologizing. He sent a letter and he was saying, would you be my instructor again?
Wow.
Unfortunately, I couldn't.
Why?
Yeah, because I just don't know how I would manage such again. Remember, I'm still myself.
Flesh,
I'm flesh. Yeah, I go.
Yeah,
I tried to seek advice. Yes, I said, look, I just can't do this. Yeah, so yes, there are challenges. I don't know if that answers part of your question.
Because I know, to be honest, I've been in situations where things just keep me awake. So I can imagine, because so many thoughts would have come to your mind, you know. But so you deal with a lot of people, you know, on a daily basis. I know you've been on break with the lockdown, but you know, before now, you deal with different kinds of people, you know, people who are not Christians, people who are Christians, people who don't believe anything, but you deal with different kinds of people. How do you manage people, you know, in your line of job?
Right, very good question. So management of people, that is an ongoing skill. No one can say they are already there. When I'm coming into the car with someone, I do not know them. Most of my clients, they're coming through online. So like I'm speaking right now, people are contacting and all the rest of that. I don't even know what they look like. I do not know them until I show up at their doorstep. So they could come in and they could come in with their own problems, you know, which would affect what you're doing. Now you need to depend on God for every person. And here is the truth. There is no two, you don't have two people who are the same way. Exactly. So I don't leave one person and go, I'm going to use my experience from that person to handle this other person. No, it doesn't work that way. So every day, it's a nice day. You put it that way. You're meeting different people. You're dealing with them as they come. Now, I have had people who, because they have family issues, it affects them. They bring it into your work area. I've had people who, you know, different challenges. Some even, you know, some don't even tell you, but it's an underlying thing behind their reaction. You speak to someone, they may just shout back at you. You know, like shout at you and you're wondering, oh, that's random. But you've got to remember something that you don't know, but you will find out later on. And then that helps you. You just patiently wait. I remember someone who just basically just came bam, bam, bam on me, and then at the end of the whole thing, I kept quiet. And I think being quiet, it was really like very strange to them. Unfortunately, this lady had just lost her mom. Now, I just traveled from Saudi Arabia and then come in. And to be honest with you, that was too much for that moment. If I knew that would be too much or all that, I would have said, hey, look, let's not have this lesson in this time. But yeah, people are that way. You need the grace of God to help you to go through all those challenges. They're there. It's not like you say, oh, I know it all. You don't. You do not. The next person, you don't know what they will do. You don't know how they will react, you know, and things like that. So people are different. You just take it as they come. I've had another person who came in already dosed up with drugs.
Wow.
It took the car, is driving on, eyes closing.
Wow.
While driving, yeah. And I looked and like, oh my God, we're going to die. Someone said, how did you undo that person? I was just basically praying in my heart. I said, can you pull up on the left, please? He did. I was like, praise God, hallelujah. All right, can you switch up the engine, please? He did. Oh, this is working. Can you remove the key, please? He did. Can you give me that key, please? He did. I've got the key. Now I said, Now, look, this is the end of this lesson.
Now you know you're not dying with you having the keys.
Yeah, just pass me the key.
Yeah.
And don't worry about paying for it. I think you're not just okay today. I never said what it was directly.
Yeah.
I never did.
Yeah.
When they swapped seats, then I started interrogating them. Yes. And I took him back home. I said, don't worry about this. We'll continue some other day. That was the last time the person saw me.
Oh, can you imagine? It must be very intense sometimes and risky.
Yes, there's risk.
But are there times, you know, business is slow? Are there times that it's quiet, you know, you don't get calls and people are not coming?
It's a very good question. You know how I answer that question? I answered that question from the first day I started this. I said, this is a boast. So let me say it clearly, it's a boast. I said, look, if there is only one job in the city for 10 driving instructors, that job will come to me. I have never had a quiet time.
Wow.
Never.
Wow.
Never.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That's amazing. You know, I haven't told you, I check your page on Facebook a lot of times, and I know you've been
I call
busy.
that one sneaking.
Yes, I've been sneaking in on you. So it's been busy and it's been amazing, to be honest with you. So yeah, I will agree with you that you are always busy. So do you think, you know, being in this job right now, do you think you are fulfilled? Do you think it's been, you know, I am fulfilled doing this?
Right, very good question as well. You know, this question you asked me, you know, I asked myself because it's a story, something leading to something, but the answer is no. I can say I have joy. So the fulfillment is in stages. So stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. That's what all it's all about. So the fact that I could say God said to me to go and do this, and I'm inside it, that's a big fulfillment.
Wow.
Have I done it the way He wants me to do it? No. Am I making efforts to do it the way He wants me to do it? Yes. Are there still more? Yes. Do I know what's more? No.
I love that. I love that. So what's the best part of being a driving instructor?
The best part of being driving instructor is the most painful part, which is the challenging part. For me, basically, it was the fact that I had to go through failing. It was just, I don't know how to explain that. Obviously, there's nobody anywhere who wants to fail. There is no one.
Yeah.
But that was the best part for me. It's the making part. It broke me down, melted me, molded me, and turned me to what He wants me to be. That was the best part for me.
It's been a good story. Okay, so what advice would you give to anyone who's thinking about being a driving instructor, or someone who's thinking, you know what, I think I love to do this, but I'm not sure this is for me? What advice would you give to that person?
The advice I would give, to be honest with you, is that there will be noise out there. That would be nice. What I call noise is this. So, like, for example, I was meant to come to a location today. I had noise in my head. The noise in my head said to me, go to that location. The message you sent to me said, come to this location. That's that still small voice, the voice of God. The noise in my head says, I know it all. I know where I'm going. And I headed there. I'm driving, I'm going. I know it. I'm the one. Then I'm going. Why is this thing saying to me to go to this other place? What's wrong? That's how it is for most people in life. Your spirit knows what your head does not know. Your head is where the noise is. I would say to whoever, follow your heart. In anything. It does not really even matter whether it's driving instruction or not. You know how many people are out there who are in wrong profession. There are many. So this is a petroleum engineer guy sitting here, and
talking about driving cars, instructing people.
How did that all turn around? Is it what you want to do? No. I said no. Is it what I'm enjoying doing now? I said yes. How did I get here? The direction from God. So follow your heart.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
It's been a beautiful section with you. I don't know, any last words, anything you want to say before we go?
Well, I'll say to everyone, just on the last word I said there, if you're out there and you're going through things, you're not alone. Yeah, you're not alone. You will never be alone. He said, I will not leave you nor forsake you. As a loving God, that's, if you say to me to describe God, it's an embodiment of love. Love doesn't give up, so it's not giving up on you. Love has a lot of hope and faith in you. It believes in you, and it's all around it, whether it's good or bad. In those times, like the questions you asked me, would I want it to be in that kind of frame? No, I would have loved everything to be smooth, but life doesn't offer that. But know that God offers you what is best for you. So stick to Him. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. We've all heard it from Mr. Emmanuel. Follow your heart. And most importantly, I just love that part. God is love. God is love. And in His love, He offers everything that is beautiful for you. Follow your heart. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. I can't stop thanking you. And we will be sure be putting up your your Facebook page and whatever, because even me, I'm going to recommend people to look for him if you're in Aberdeen. No, I'm not, to be honest with you, because I search your Facebook page and it's it's busy, and you are doing an amazing job. So if you are in Aberdeen or you live close to Aberdeen and you're looking for a driving instructor, you know who to hit up. Thank you so much, and see you some other time. Bye for now. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.